welcome to CSB TV. I'm Jason Hirschberger, and with me today in beautiful South Beach, Miami is my special guest, Michael Lyons from LYONS Band, a local rock band here in South Miami. Michael, how are you?
Good. Yourself?
Doing fine. Thanks a lot for being here with me. I appreciate it.
Sure.
We want to get started and talk a little bit about your early days. We want to kind of go back from the past to the present and then give the listeners and viewers an idea of where you're headed in the future.
Okay.
So I want to take you back to when you first had an idea that you were going to be a musical artist. You remember when that came to you?
A few different times.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you're a kid, you think in terms of things like that, and but that's like daydreaming.
Right.
So I don't know if I should use that as an example. I thought about it 6, 7, 8 years old.
Wow,
but I didn't make something happen until, I was in my mid-late teens.
Sure.
So I applied myself.
Okay. Is that when you got your very first guitar?
Yeah.
Okay. What was that? Do you remember that? Was it a
Spanish guitar?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Acoustic, electrical?
Nylon string, acoustic,
wow.
Spanish.
And what makes you unique among other guitarists? You've taught yourself to play by yourself, your own self-teachings, I guess.
Right by ear.
Describe what that was like for you.
Confusing.
Yeah.
It usually starts a little slower or a little faster, depending on what you're doing, because you skip things which you go back to later.
Right.
But it was a lot of fun, and difficulty levels you sometimes push yourself a little further than maybe you should. But it's an interesting way to go.
A lot of calluses on the fingertips starting off, right?
Yeah, starting off. Not as much now. I get guitars set up the way I like them. The action's really low.
Okay.
And put fingeries on the neck, so it's
it's the way you want it now.
The way I want it. Yeah. But most guitar players don't like my guitars because they slip off. It's a feel.
Okay. What were some of your early musical influences that you listened to and got you started towards what you do now?
I'd say from the earliest that I could go back to that really made me think about guitar would be, believe it or not, of all things, Elvis Presley.
Is that right?
Jailhouse Rock.
Okay.
With my parents playing that when I was a kid. Just that guitar, that simple riff. And then from there to the Beatles with George Harrison.
Right.
And then once I got hooked on that, then it was more the Led Zeppelin, Hendrix,
okay,
and on and on and on.
You mentioned Hendrix.
Yeah.
I've read in Rag magazine that you have influence or inspiration from classical composers, from Beethoven to the great guitar legends like Jimi Hendrix. And we see that and we hear that in your music because you do not only rock, but you have a little bit of blues. Can you kind of elaborate on maybe how you got your inspiration from those guys?
Well, I don't know about how. It's just in there.
Yeah.
Some things, I don't know what makes you listen to one form of music and like it more than another. It just moved me big time.
Right.
So first things I heard that really got me involved in guitar heavily would be the mix between blues, rock, and classical that certain bands would do, but then the guitar player of a stature like Hendrix or Jimmy Page or whatever that that was just something I wanted to do that had what I was looking for in music.
Well, those are definitely some of the great ones, and to take any kind of inspiration from those guys and incorporate in your music, only shows what you expect from yourself and your band.
I neglected to bring. You asked me about the classical influences.
Right.
That's something my father plays piano. So when I was a child, I'd listen to that, and I've always loved that type of music, and the scale work that's involved with classical is beautiful, and on electric, and when you incorporate that into rock, it's really something special.
Michael Lyons, my guest today, member, lead singer, guitarist of LYONS Band. You can catch him performing next at Club M. That is at Hollywood Boulevard, 2037. They're going to be performing April 27th at 10:30. Michael, thanks very much for being here.
Thank you.
All right.
All righty.
Thank you.